Is this the best track in DH? High speeds? Check. Natural tech? Yup. A history of absolutely epic races? Mais oui. Someone notorious for holding it wide open here in the French Alps is Myriam Nicole, and 2018 will be no different. Can the Frenchwoman defend her 2017 Crankworx Leger win? The Thunder from Down Under, Troy Brosnan, is also on course for a repeat win here in Leger. Can the Aussie fend off a packed field of challengers? They say time is the only constant. And for the DH racers here in France, that means constantly pinned. Round 3 of the Crankworx World Tour, the Leger Downhill, streamed live on Crankworx.com. Grip it and rip it.
Sam Blenkinsop. The 2018 Crankworx World Tour has started out to the liking of that man, to say the least.
That has. He has come out swinging. He would win in Rotorua. He would also win at the Redwoods Downhill. So he's got 2 wins coming into Innsbruck. We saw him at Innsbruck. I mean, what a great ride, Cam. Sorry to butt in there. But he would go on to take second behind Danny Hart, but amass great points in the overall.
Asserting his dominance at the first 2 stops. But of course, it's time for stop number 3 in beautiful Leger, France, on an amazing downhill course with so much history.
I just love this place. It has so much history. Back in 2004, we had the World Championship here, the famous one, where PD would go down to Fabian Rand. He would crash within sight of the finish. And before that, they've hosted World Cups. And I was so excited when we came back here. We had a rain-soaked race in 2016. Then in 2017, we had a dry race. And what a race it was with Troy Brosnan taking down the title.
The top riders in the world show up to this event. This is one of the favorite stops for all the top downhill racers, really close to Morzine, where they spend their time in between races on the World Cup season. So this is a race where we always have the top riders showing up on that start list. And this track is a big reason why, Andrew Needling.
That it is. It is arguably, if not the best track in the world for downhill. It is one of the rawest tracks you'll see. What's great is they've gone old school. It's through the fast open slopes of the top of a ski run. Then they go into the woods, and then they come back onto the ski slope here to the finish, normally in front of a big crowd. It's just unbelievable, really.
Well, less than a second was separated our men's field's top 3 last year, so you know it's going to be tight racing. They're hitting close to 70 kilometers an hour into the finish line corral. And take a look at our standings currently right now for the World Tour. Like we mentioned before, Sam Blenkinsop leading with an iron fist, but Danny Hart taking the win at the last stop is not too far behind.
Yeah, Mick Hanna in third. We will see him in the field. Finn Isles, we'll see him in the field as well. So it is a great leaderboard there, but Sam Blenkinsop is really looking like he's going to amass some more points there.
Well, there's a look at the World Tour overall standings, so you have an idea of who's probably going to be pretty expensive once you make your way over to fantasy.crankworx.com to build your team. Andrew, you built a team. Walk me through it.
I did. Well, looking at the budget, I had money for Sam Blenkinsop. He's a sure bet. I would take some lower budget guys, not to say their skill level is any less, but they cost less, like Taylor Vernon, people like that. And then in the women, Emily Seigenthaler, she's medaled here before. I'm feeling pretty confident about my team.
Well, if anybody knows how to build a fantasy team, it's got to be you. You're the expert out here. I'm your host, Cam McCall. Of course, this is Andrew Needling, a guy who is no stranger to the downhill track here at Leger, France. This place is kind of close to your heart, Andrew. Tell us why.
It really is. I was lucky enough to do my very first World Cup as a junior here in Leger back in 2002. It sounds like I'm getting pretty old. I guess I am. It's a long time ago. But I just love coming back here. Most years we'd have a little bit of a Europe stint where we'd have a break and we'd come to the biggest mountain bike playground probably in the world. 3 mountain bike dedicated lists. There are so many kilometers of trails here. It just is a great place to come, whether you're a World Cup downhiller or just an everyday guy that likes riding his bike.
Well, something you like to say about this place is you could ride all day and never hit the same trail twice. But you've been out here riding this downhill track. You put a handful of laps on it. Let's check out a POV view of this course through the eyes of Andrew Needling.
So it's an unbelievable start. In the distance, you'll see Mont Blanc on a clear day. But you are straight into it on this downhill track. You better be ready out the gate. First road gap. And I'm hearing that guys are doing up to 80 k's an hour down this fast open ski slope. But what's great is it's raw, it's natural, it's really going to favor the guy that can stay off the brakes. Once you finish with the ski slope, you come into the woods here. Really, really good flow here, but you don't want to make too many mistakes here because it's all about linking your turns and carrying good exit speed. If you get a bit aggressive in 1 or 2 of the turns, you're going to mess up 3 or 4 that are after that. It joins back to the ski slopes. This is just one of the coolest tracks I've ever seen. You're within sight of the finish, and sports fans, pay attention to this section right here. That left-hander is where PD threw it all away back in 2004. You end with a road gap and down into the finish carousel, which hopefully you are cheered on by adoring fans.
And hopefully your brakes are still working because, I mean, it's flat out the entire time. Rather than talking about the top speed on this track, it would be more interesting to talk about what the slowest is you go on this track, because it's pretty much flat out the whole way, and you don't have much time to stop before that finish corral, you know, before the track ends. 100% flat out. I'd say this is a pretty manly downhill course, wouldn't you say?
That it is, but we're also going to see all the women out here, and they have, well, cojones of steel as well, because like you said, this track is super long, but it's so fast. The average speed is just ridiculous for a downhill track. It's dry, it's fast, it's loose cam. It's really going to favor the guy. Yes, skill, but you've got to have some balls out here today.
Now, if you were going to weigh out the ratio of fitness versus just flat out guts and adrenaline, where would you weight it on this track? It seems like keeping your fingers away from those brake levers is where it's at if you can control your speed.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. But the guy that is not fit is going to suffer down the bottom of these straights, because yes, you don't want to use your brakes too much, but you've got to use them a little bit. And if you're fatigued and you're tired, you're going to grab onto those brakes and you're going to hit the anchors where you don't want to with fatigue.
We got to mention that on these straightaways, it's a raw, untamed grass hill. There's holes, so arm pump definitely going to be a factor.
It's going to be a huge factor, and we've seen a few guys switching over to 29-inch wheels, which we'll speak later in the broadcast. That's going to be interesting, and I just see that there's a really strong French field. I don't know if someone's going to be able to eclipse, but over to you, Cam.
Well, it's the Crankworx Leger downhill. The stage is set in the women's category. We're going to kick it off after the break. Stick around.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Love the feeling of being truly awake. So last stop, just a week ago in Innsbruck, this is what happened in the women's category.
Tracy Hanna, our defending champion from Innsbruck the year before. She was lacking a bit of form in the first part of the season, sorry Cam. And what was great to see, this is a really raw track from Tracy, and she just loved it. It plays right into her strengths. She would come out and she would take the win here in Innsbruck and bring a bit of confidence here into Les Gets in 2018.
Well, that was last week, stop number 2 of the 2018 season. But let's talk about last year right here in Les Gets. It was all about Myriam Nicole.
That it was. In front of a home crowd here in France on the infamous and famous track here in Les Gets. She loves the track out here. It is raw, it is fast. Myriam Nicole rode a flawless race to take home that gold medal. So Tracy's going to have her work cut out today to take down Myriam Nicole because she's riding on great form coming into this race here in Les Gets.
Well, of course, with Myriam Nicole being the returning champ from the 2017 season on this track, we'll see her dropping last. The first rider we'll see on course is none other than Casey Brown out of Canada. And then take a look at the other 5 women on our start list.
And we haven't spoke about Rachel Atherton, who is an extreme favorite here. Not only Tracy Anna, not only Myriam Nicole, but Rachel Atherton has put her name in the hat here, and she's on great form coming off Leo Gang.
Well, if you're not excited enough yet, this is the time to stand up and get ready. This is the Crankworx Les Gets downhill, and it starts right now. This place has attracted the best mountain bike riders in the world. 90 kilometers of bike trails here in the Port du Soleil region.
The crowd is going wild out there.
Nobody has any room for air here. One last features. Cork 725, Vinny lands it.
What a huge run. We could have a new leader here.
It's so awesome though. It's like one of the funnest tracks I've ever ridden. Ever.
He's looking good. He's going to take it.
Oh, just barely too short.
Dude, it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, that's it, folks. Let's get down to racing. The women's category here in beautiful Les Gets, France. Of course, stop number 3. First rider we're gonna see out of Canada, Casey Brown. Now, we gotta explain to you, it's not about just this race. There's so much more at stake here. And Casey Brown, a rider who's competing in so many different events at all 4 stops of this amazing world tour. She's looking to get some of those points. Of course, looking to land on the podium here in Les Gets this year. You may recognize Casey Brown from just a couple nights ago when we had the whip-off. But just a week ago, Casey Brown took home the gold in the whip-off. Here's some footage from how she did it. Now, a few years ago, there was not a single girl in the world who could whip a bike that far off a jump that big, but Casey Brown definitely breaking down barriers. And it's great to see that she also competes in so many different race disciplines also. You never know, you can never count her out. She's a very, very enthusiastic rider who doesn't get scared very often. So a track like this where it's all about going balls out, I have a feeling she could potentially have what it takes to get on the podium if she gets a perfect run.
No, you've said it exactly true. And what's great to see is she's been working on the whips. She's been the queen of whips, and she's clearly improved them from last year to this year. But this is downhill, Cam. You do not get any bonuses for whips. It's all about as fast as you can get down this hill.
Well, here we go. We're going to see if she's able to do it right now. Casey Brown, the first rider on course.
She's coming off a second in the Crankworx Redwoods downhill, and also a second here last year in the ADH. This is a way different course to the ADH. So that's off the first road gap. This is where riders are going to hit speeds of 70 and 80 Ks an hour. It's rough, it's raw, and it is fast. It's all about getting off the brakes here in the top section.
Well, what a great way to kick this off. I could watch Casey Brown ride a downhill bike all day long. She's definitely riding smooth so far. Let's see where she stands here.
So she's down into the bobsleigh section. This is a famous section of this track. Casey Brown opting for the more casual attire here today. That shows you her free racer spirit, but she is no slouch.
There we go.
2.65 up. So she's on a flyer of a run here. Getting some pedal strokes here in the lower section of the Les Gets downhill course. These are the fast open ski slopes. It's all about setting up early for these corners and staying off the brakes in the turns. So Casey Brown looking very consistent, getting into her speed tug. For the riders at home, if you get to the point that you're over 40 or 50k an hour and you hop on the pedals and you're doing nothing, it's better off to tuck instead of trying to get pedal strokes that will do nothing to drive your momentum forward.
Well, talking about aerodynamics, skinny jeans can't be a bad call.
Yeah, I mean, she's looking like she's got her slim jeans on, so she's looking pretty airy. You know what? Maybe it's a tactic. She's trying to kind of get in everyone's head that she's all in her casual attire, but she's actually got a strategy here. She's got her slim fit jeans on for aerodynamics.
Yeah, if you looked at her attire, you'd think, oh, Casey isn't taking this very seriously, but you watch her ride right now, she's focused.
She's coming into the last drop. It's all the way into the finish. Can she hold that time to the finish? What will the time tell us?
She was up at the split, and she's improved even more. 4.3 seconds ahead of the current hot seat occupant. What do the rest of our racers have to say about that? Looks like we got another Canadian rider out of the gate, Via Verbeek.
Well, if anyone can say something just out the gate, I mean, it's Via Verbeek. She's coming off a first in the Redwoods downhill back in Rotorua. She was on great form, but then suffered an injury. So she's looking to get back to the form that she had in the first bit of the season. Also a second in the Rotorua DH in 2018, which was a bit of a mudfest. Totally different conditions out here. It's dry, it's fast, and it's loose. We'll wait to pick her up and see what the first split says. It's looking green, but we haven't seen what time, so we'll have to wait to confirm on that. We're not going to get too excited just yet. Via Verbeek has had great results in the past. Many a podium here at our Crankworx events. Second place in the Canadian Open in 2017 in Crankworx, so no stranger to the podium. Coming back from injured Cam, as you know, we both know it's never easy.
She's coming back strong, to say the least. And she's another rider who definitely signs up for many, many disciplines at these festivals. So all these points are very valuable for Via Verbeek.
So this is when your arms are getting tired. You're late into the race. It's almost 3 minutes. You're doing your best to support your upper body with your legs, but those are also getting tired. And it's just the worst feeling, getting sore arms. You go to tap the brakes, and next thing you've just grabbed the full hands full on the anchors. She's looking clean, though. Nice and composed.
Via Verbeek out of Canada. Right now, our current leader, also a Canadian rider, Casey Brown. Now, it looks like Casey has already... Yeah, Casey had a 3:32, and Via Verbeek's already at 3:35, so it's not going to be enough, but we're going to find out when she crosses this finish line, where she sits.
Via Verbeek coming to the finish line here in Leger. Not the run she was after. She'll be into 5th position behind Casey Brown, who's in the hot seat, has put in a storm of a run early here in the broadcast.
Well, next up in the gate, the current leader in our Crankworx Downhill World Tour overall standings. This is going to be Emily Seigenthaler out of Switzerland. What's she got for us?
She's coming off a 3rd in Innsbruck just last week. What a great rider out of Switzerland. She's hopped on a few World Cups podiums as well. Now, current leader of Crankworx Downhill World Tour.
Well, with Emily Seigenthaler's run right now, we're going to be able to find out how fast Casey Brown really was. Now, she was a good 10 seconds ahead of Via Verbeek, but Emily Seigenthaler, of course, coming off of that 3rd place last week, will she have what it takes to knock Casey Brown off of that hot seat?
Yeah, obviously very good in the mud and the slippery conditions coming from Switzerland. This is polar opposite. Taking that inside line there, the shortest distance around the turn, that looked clean though, and she might gain some time there. We haven't picked up a split yet on Emily though. Drifting wide there on these fast off-camber turns. Also running wide there, but it's not the end of the world if you're carrying good speed. If you run a little bit wide, you can get back to the track. This is rough. Guys on your screen, I've ridden this track. It is unbelievably rough. You're tired, your arms are sore down the bottom here, and you've still got to navigate a few drops and some turns to the finish. Navigating the road trap clean. A little bit deep there. He's carrying good speed. What will the time? Oh! Looked like a bit of a drift there in the PD's turn. This is going to be close.
Well, she's got less than 10 seconds to cross the finish line. If she wants to take the hot seat away from Casey Brown, will it be enough? It's going to be close. Emily Seigenthaler through the line, 0.08 ahead of Casey Brown. Emily Seigenthaler rolls into 1st place.
Great run by Emily Seigenthaler.
Now, of course, this next racer is not going to be a stranger to this terrain. From France, Marine Cabarrou.
No, she was 7th here in Leger last year, coming off a 4th in Fort William, a 4th at the Croatia, the first round of the World Cup. So she's no stranger to the podium, let alone this track. So local French rider, Marine Caribou, will be fast on this track. There's no doubt about it. Most of the French here just love this track. They grew up riding raw, natural tracks. Other tracks have got a bit more bike parky, but not this one, not at all.
Well, it's great to mix it up, too, have a great variety across all the stops in the Crankworx World Tour. This one definitely represents all-out speed. Little trouble at the split there for Marine.
Casey's put in a stormer here, so lost 1.18 and then drifted further away from Casey. She's down 3.61. That is going to be next to impossible to bring back on the lower slopes of Leger here. With it being so fast, all the riders are within split seconds of each other here on the lower slopes. It's not that technical once you come out of the woods. Maribo, equipped on that Mondraker bike. Very consistent. Crossing line, putting some pedal strokes in. She's not going to give up. There's still podium spots up for the taking here from Marine Caribou. Emily Seigenthaler sitting in the hot seat, 3:32.85. The time is ticking away here for Marine. Sorry, earlier I did mention it was Casey, but she was so close. She is sitting in 2nd position.
Yeah, only 0.08 of a second separating 1st and 2nd place right now. Of course, Emily Seigenthaler, the occupant currently of that hot seat.
So Marine wants to keep it clean. She can go into 3rd position here if she keeps it clean, pushes hard to the finish line.
What's it going to be for Marine Cabarrou through the line with a time of 3:37.25? That puts her into 4th place. But take a look at who we have in the start gate right now. This is one of the best of all time, out of Great Britain, Rachel Atherton.
You said it, Cam, the most decorated female DHer in our field. She's coming off a 1st in Leo Games. We haven't seen her at many Crankworxes before. Her last appearance was back in 2015, where she did come out and she won it. She is literally the force to be reckoned with if she's feeling confident and if she's healthy. Injuries have plagued her career over the last few years.
It's great to see her back on form. As of recently, the last World Cup, she took the win, but a lot of trouble with injury last season. And even if you're one of the best in the world, it's so incredibly difficult to come back, heal that injury, and also get your head in place where you have that confidence yet again. Are we going to see her back on full form here and take another Crankworx win?
Sister to G. Atherton, we know she trains with her brothers. She's holding very good speed on these off-cam, but she is a technically gifted rider. Pacing herself in Wales. There's unbelievable technical tracks that her brother Dan builds that they all ride together.
Take a look at her head. Look how incredibly stable her head is.
You're totally right, Cam. She's really focused on looking ahead, keeping her head still, and letting the bike move under her body.
Well, I can't wait till we get a glimpse of this split time.
We haven't picked up the split, but this is so fast. She's looking to beat a 3:32, and she's going to smash that time coming into the finish. The time is ticking away, but it's easy going to put her into the 1st position here.
Rachel Atherton through the line, just under 10 seconds ahead of Emily Seigenthaler. Right into that hot seat. Wow, that's going to be tough to beat.
We are not surprised with a great run like that. Rachel Atherton. But it is not done yet, folks. We still have Tracy Hanna coming off a win last week in Innsbruck at the Crankworx World Tour, stop number 2. Tracy Hanna, lacking a bit of form in the early parts of the season, but she bounced back last week with a win. She loves it fast. She loves these natural tracks. Oh, she goes deep there, Cam. There's 2 kind of landings. There's a bit of a knuckle, and she's landed right on the top one. But
Tracy
if anyone
Hanna
likes fast tracks and really letting it hang out, it's Tracy Hanna.
She appears to be pulling all the stops out right now, going incredibly deep on that step down.
She's lost some time. She's 2.40 down on Rachel. Rachel has put an absolute stormer into the field here. Tracy Hanna. She's still medal positions here up for grabs. I'm not going to say it's all done, but it's a very tough ask to ask her to bring back 2 seconds. Opting for that inside line there. Very smooth. It's all about the mixture between trying to find the shortest distance around a turn and how much momentum you can take to the next section. Still smooth. Bit of a tall gear there, Trace. Coming into the lower slopes here. So she's 2.40. What is this going to do to the overall? Rachel has thrown her name in the mix here, but Tracy Hanna, to keep it on 2 wheels. She can still slot into second position here with only one rider, French rider Miriam Nicole. Wow, what a run by Rachel. Tracy, has she been able to stay within touch? She was 2.4 down at the split. Time is ticking away into the finish area.
Well, it's not going to be enough to take the win here for Tracy Hanna. She will not go back-to-back on stop 2 and 3, but she is sitting currently in second place with one more rider left to go. And that rider is none other than Miriam Nicole, the woman who won this race just a year ago. Take a look at our current standings. Rachel Atherton sitting comfortably in that hot seat. Tracy Hanna in second. Emily Seigenthaler currently in bronze medal position, but Miriam Nicole put 1.72 of a second on the competition just a year ago. Will she be able to repeat? It's going to be tough to knock that woman out of the hot seat right now. But we had a chance to catch up with our final rider in the women's field earlier. Take a look.
Coming here in Les Gets, it's a place to be for any downhill mountain biker or just mountain biker. It's so nice. You have some nice restaurant. You have some good activities to do. So yeah, it's like a small town. Everyone is happy. This is a race where last year changed my season. You know, I wasn't into it, and then I got here and I was so happy on my bike, and I won here. And after, everything went well, and just because I had so much fun here, it reminds me like, yeah, this is where you like riding fast your bike. This week is gonna be tough because it's like a World Cup. All the girls are here, so it's really high level, so we're gonna have to go flat out, so winning again will be amazing, but I will have to push a bit harder than last year, maybe. We are on the terrace. We can have good times with my friend, drinking good wine, eating cheese, and sitting in the sun, just having a good time. This is going to be a good track, and it's as well natural, a bit more bike power because there is a lot of berm at the end, a few more jumps, but it's cool, and it's going to be a good race.
Well, if Miriam Nicole wants to make it 2 years in a row here in Les Gets, she's going to have to do the unthinkable, which is beat Rachel Atherton, who you see on your screen right now, comfortably seated in that hot seat. And this is what Rachel's run looked like. Can't find any errors here, Andrew, can you?
No, hopping into downslopes there, she really was attacking and pushing forward the whole way down. Her fitness, you can see it here. Not really looking fatigued. As you mentioned, her head is very still. Bike is looking under control. No real issues here at all, which means she's going fast.
Well, safe to say it's going to take a perfect, flawless run for Miriam Nicole to beat Rachel Atherton.
Yeah, Rachel Atherton is having a lot more fun, I think, racing her bike. She's been through a lot of injuries. She's been to great successes. Multiple world champion. And I think she was putting a lot of pressure on herself coming back. And when you see a smile on her face, she's a dangerous threat here in a downhill race.
Well, of course, her name is sitting at the top of this list right now. She's 3.52 ahead of Tracy Hanna. Emily Seigenthaler is still sitting in bronze medal position. But what will the story be once we drop the French rider, the 2017 champ out here in Les Gets, Miriam Nicole? We're going to find out shortly. And this is what it's all about right here. Tight racing on this track.
Yeah, can Miriam Nicole make it 2 for 2 here? She's our defending champ. Can she make it literally another win on home soil for herself?
Well, here we go. Miriam Nicole readies herself in the start gate, and she's off.
Miriam Nicole, also known as Pom Pom, or famously known as Pom Pom. She's coming off a first place in Croatia World Cup. So she got off the season to the most perfect start ever. Our French national champ, you see the sleeve on her jersey. Also going deep there. She's on the common cell, and my word, has this bike been performing this year. A very high chain line, which is probably going to favor Kerr on this track. It allows the back wheel to get out of the way. The con to that is sometimes under braking it'll skip. But if you're not on the brakes, this bike has been told to feel like a magic carpet.
We're going to get a split here, Needles.
We're looking for the split. We haven't quite got it. What is it going to tell us? Rachel Atherton at the split, 2:30, 1-0. We haven't been given the first split, it was which high up on the slopes. I think this is just down. We normally get the split there. 1.77, so she is back, but still within touch. If she can push to the finish, she can claw some of this back. Miriam Nicole, can she defend here on home soil? She told us, got her season going last year. Opting for the wide line there. That is different to what Rachel Atherton did there. That sets you up a little bit late there going to the next left-hander. She's opted to drop a foot there. She feels she can stay off the brakes longer. Good on the pedal. She was in the right gear there. This is exciting, Cam. Can she defend on home soil? Coming off a first place at the first round of the World Cups. Whoa, getting a bit loose there. She is pushing hard here to the finish, and she needs to do that. She needs to claw back 1.77, which is a tough ask on a course like this.
Miriam Nicole is going to have to be absolutely flawless on the bottom of this track if she's going to take the win out from under Rachel Atherton, currently sitting with a 3:22. Miriam Nicole, will it be enough?
Who knows?
It will not. Miriam Nicole crossing the finish line into second place, which means Rachel Atherton will take the gold here in the Crankworx Les Gets downhill.
Wow, what a run by Rachel. She's ecstatic. That just shows you how amazing this woman is at down racing. Pom Pom, our defending champion, looked like she had a clean run. She was attacking to the finish. It just wasn't enough. Rachel Atherton rode those lowest slopes incredibly, put a further 2 seconds into it.
Well, there we go. It's been a while. It's been since 2015 that Rachel Atherton raced the Crankworx downhill. She won back then. She wins again today. Here's a look at our leaderboard. Rachel Atherton swooping the win out from under French rider Miriam Nicole. Tracy Hanna taking home the bronze. Now Emily Seigenthaler in fourth. Casey Brown in fifth. A good day of racing out here for the women. Let's send it down to Cunny, who's standing by with Rachel Atherton. Cunny?
Hi, welcome down here to the finish line. Rachel, what an incredible run. That just looked flawless. How was it for you riding on this legendary track?
Well, the track is amazing, absolutely mint. It's so much fun. All practice, you're just going for it, and then you get to the race and you're like, oh no, I've got to race down it. It's actually so fast. It feels really short, so you're like, you're at the bottom really quickly, but you're absolutely hanging. It's really physical, hard on the body, so yeah, I'm pretty happy.
And we don't see you at that many Crankworx, but have you been enjoying it this weekend? It looks like you're going to be racing the dual slalom later as well.
Oh yeah, Crankworx, it's always a funny one, you know, between World Cups, and this year I just thought, you know, I just want to have fun and ride my bike, and qualified first in dual slalom, which was a bit of a surprise, so finals are tonight after the downhill, so I won't be on the champagne yet.
Well, brilliant. Winning's fun, I'm sure. So back to you guys in the box. Cheers, Rach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. Well, back on form to say the least. She just won the downhill. She qualified first in slalom, which she'll be racing later. Great to see Rachel Atherton not only showing up here to Crankworx, but taking the gold again. Well, there's a look at our final leaderboard. Maureen Cabarrou in 7th. Monica Rasnick in 6th. Casey Brown showing up to so many events here, taking a 5th in the downhill. That'll be worth some points for Emily Seigenthaler. Now the podium, Tracy Hanna, Miriam Nicole, and Rachel Atherton. We thought that was exciting. We got more racing for you. This is the Crankworx Les Gets downhill men's category coming up after the break. Don't go away.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Leger Bike Park, the best bike park in Europe. Well, back to in beautiful Leger. The racing, but also the lifestyle you can take part of in this beautiful mountain town. Of course, connected by countless chairlifts that bring you across country borders, all kinds of different trails. That's what's going on if you're out here riding for fun. If you're riding for points and prize money, then there's plenty of that to be given out at stop number 3 of the Crankworx World Tour. Now this is the way it works here for all of our events. If you win, you're gonna take home 150 points. That's going to be added up. The winner at the end of the season is the one who has the most points next to their name. You could win the overall World Tour standings of each discipline, or you could be adding those points up for your King and Crankworx overall potential. Right now, in the Downhill World Tour for the women, Emily Seigenthaler just shot herself up into first place, but Tracy Hanna, with her great result here, is tied. 225 points for both of them. With another stop to go, of course, in Whistler. Tawny Seagrave not able to race today, but still hanging out there towards the top of the list. So each one of these races, a little battle in the grand scheme of things, which is the big war, the World Tour overall. Can't stress enough how much all these events matter. Even the whip-off contest. We had the whip-off contest just a couple nights ago. Take a look at how that went down.
This morning I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, but no, it worked. All my friends used to call me my gather, so yeah. Well, that was for him.
Yeah.
For sure.
It looked like it worked, so good on you. Third place here for Leah.
Oh man, unreal. So much fun. Everyone was throwing down, so I'm pretty stoked to get on the box.
Bit more, and then the last one I nearly almost went down, but it was, I don't know, it was cool. People like race whip, and you got that big like free ride one, the big dirt joint, like wow, oh, I love it, it's so sick.
It's humbling. It's good to have a close competition, and I think it's really good for the sport of whips.
He's thrown Casey Brown in a whip-off at Crankworx. That must feel pretty cool.
Definitely, it's awesome.
Did you expect that when you came in here?
Definitely not.
The champ, Vinny Armstrong, here in Leger, taking the whip-off.
Dave McMillan killed it, Cade killed it. Everyone was riding so good, and like the jump was Really good, actually. I didn't mind it.
R-Dog taking the whip off. Woo! That's a wrap here at the official European Whip-Off Championships presented by Spank. The crowd was loving it. The riders were sending it. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.
Well, it was all fun and games at the whip-off, but it's all about racing the clock here in downhill. We'll be popping plenty more bottles of champagne once we get through this list of riders right here, each one of them with potential to win it. First, we're going to see is Rémi Thirion from France.
Yeah, we're going to have the riders likes of Brendan Fairclough, Bernhard Kerr. Into our next page, Jack Redding, Eddie Masters, Finn Isles, G. Atherton. We have a stacked field here coming down. Baptiste Pirro, Mark Wallish, Lucas Shaw, the man on form. Not forgetting our leader, Sam Blenkinsop, Loic Bruni, current world champion, Amri Perron and Troy Brosnan. There are so many names here today.
So we've got a rider who's leading the World Cup overall. We got a rider who was a reigning world champion. We got the rider who won here last year. Needless to say, we have a stacked field and a beautiful backdrop for today's event. Take a look at the bike Rémi Thirion will be riding when we see him come out of the gate first here in the men's category.
Yeah, that's a bike we spoke about with Miriam Nicole. As you can see, that chain, they're running that chain up higher than the pivot. It's a high chain line that really helps with the back wheel to get out the way when it hits those bumps.
Well, it's one thing looking at that bike on a stand, but you know we get excited when we see Rémi Thirion sitting on that bike in the start gate. There he is. Rémi Thirion doing it for France in front of a home crowd here on home soil. Can he do it?
One of our favorite Frenchmen, always smiling in the pits. He won here back in 2016 in the Mudfest. Man, he had a season going last year, but he was out with injury with a horrific crash back in Leogang. So he's also, we'll say it a lot today, is a man trying to find that form we know he's all capable of. I mean, he's a previous World Cup winner. Solid start this year, though. He's had top 15 of the World Cup. And he's just one of the most talented and gifted guys you'll see on a downhill bike. Finesse and skill for miles. Waiting to pick up a split on Rémi Thirion. So Rémi Thirion, one of many mans will be clipped in today. We'll see a few on flat pedals. The man, Brendan Fairclough, he will be on flat. This course could be a place, yes, holding that nice and inside there. Holding very good space. So Rémi looking to beat a 3:02. Wow, drifting wide there, he is aggressive.
Thirion looking to beat a 3:02. We'll see what his split is here shortly. Thomas Stack sitting in the hot seat right now with a time that is equal to the winning time from last year from Troy Brosnan. So already quick competition here before we started our broadcast.
Not much of track left here with Rémi Thirion coming over that last road gap. Oh, very clean through PD's corner. I'm going to call that PD's corner.
So
oh, it's going to be close, but not enough though.
Well, through the finish line, 2.18 back. Good enough for second place currently for France's Rémi Thirion. Now next in the gate, out of Great Britain, Bernhard Kerr, the guy who's definitely been putting in some good results the last couple seasons, but some injuries he's had to overcome as well.
That he has, but he's bounced back nicely with a 5th at Innsbruck. This track is so fast and raw. In 2015, King of Crankworx, a very all-round rider.
Well, we had Bernhard Kerr up here in the booth during Rotorua round number 1, still healing up that ankle, so that was only a couple months ago. We're going to find out if he's back up to full pace.
Oh, and he's in touch. He's 0.92 back at the first split. So that's after the fast slopes of the Leger Mountain. And he's coming into the trees, the more technical side of this track. You can almost say this track is split into about 3 sections, waiting for the next split. We haven't picked it up yet. So Bernhard Kerr coming off the 4th year last year. So if anyone can stick it to the man in the hot seat, it could be this man. Coming back on form, Bernhard Kerr. On that 27.5 equipped pivot. This is a man that opts for an air rear shock. They feel it better suits that bike. Keeping foot up there. Conservative. Keeping some energy in the tank here. We've still got a little bit of track here. About 30 seconds to go before Bernhard Kerr can drop into the finish here and see what his time is like. South 2015 going deep there. A little bit late before that road gap.
Oh,
going deep
talk
as
about
well.
going deep.
Committed here into the finish. Current leader, Thomas Ersk, 3:02. Bernie is down on this
He's going to have to cross that finish line quick if he wants to take that lead. It's not going to be enough for Bernhard Kerr. He goes into third place, 2.67 back. Not enough for Bernhard Kerr on this one today. But would this man have what it takes? Out of the USA, Elliot Jackson.
If there's another man that will be smiling in the pits, it's this man. Always smile, always having a good time. But don't let that fool you. When this guy puts on his helmet, puts those goggles on, it's all serious. The gains are left for the pits after the run. Elliot Jackson's had some breakout results at Crankworx. Coming off a bit of a sluggish start to the season. He was only 16th last week, but he was 6th in Rotorua, round 1 of our Crankworx World Tour. He's lost some time though. That time of the hot seat of Thomas is very fast. 3.95 that he's put into Elliot, only on the first sector of the track as well. That is going to be a tall order to get any of that back. Elliot Jackson coming from the motocross background. This course should suit him somewhat. A little bit of a mistake there, unclipping unnecessarily. Yeah, with speeds up to 70 and 80 k's an hour, that mimics what you're doing on the motocross bike. Things will be coming up to you quickly.
Going foot out there.
Yeah, he is. He's getting aggressive. Foot out can work, but often you're going to lose more traction because it's tough to keep the weight on that corner edge of your tire.
He's doing it all directions, right-handers, left-handers, opting for the foot out technique. Explain why would you go for that right there? I mean, you come from the motocross background.
Very motocross background, exactly that. He's feeling he can get more aggressive, try lay off the brakes, but the problem is when you don't have both feet on the pedal, you can't weight that edge of the tire, so sometimes you lose traction, and when you lose too much traction, you lose speed. So it's a bit of a gamble, but it can be fast if you don't lose the traction.
Well, it looks like Thomas Stack put in a heater of a time. Of course, it's the same time we saw win the race last year. Something tells me it's not going to be enough today to take the entire field. But look at this, he dodges another bullet in the form of Elliot Jackson. Elliot goes into 44th place. Take a look, there he is right there, our current leader, Thomas Stack. Loving the feel of being in first place right now, but he's gonna have to dodge yet another bullet in the form of Great Britain's Brendan Fairclough.
Brendan Fairclough. Interesting, this week he's been testing the 29ers on their new prototype Scott. He's decided to stick with them and give them a go here in the race. He's got fans all around the world, and as you can hear, right on track. Brendan Fairclough hopped on many a World Cup podium in his life, even as a junior. He will love this fast and raw track. I know he's been having a lot of fun in practice, but I can say with good authority, he's not happy with his current form and some of the results he's been putting down.
We're hopefully going to get a split here. It looks to be
he's lost 1 second at the top, but that's not a lot. He can bring that back. So Brendan Fairclough, equipped on the 29-inch wheels, decided to race those and see what they like. Inside line. One of the few riders left on flat pedals after Sam Hill made them so famous. Holding very good speed there. Keeping the traction alive, even though he had his foot off the pedal. So Bernhard Kerr, one of the most likable, talented men on a bike. But don't let that fool you. Like I said with Elliot, this man is super competitive. That's why he is still out here. He wants to get back to that podium position that he knows. Had a podium here back in 2016 in the rain-soaked race that we had here on the slopes of Leger. It's through Petey's corner.
Oh, he's going to have to cross the finish line pretty quick if he's going to knock Thomas Stack off the top step of the podium.
Unbelievable time here. He's taking down some really big hitters here.
Well, Thomas Stack, his time holding up against some very, very heavy hitters right now. Brendan Fairclough not having what it takes to knock Stack out of the hot seat. But Faustin Figueret out of France, will he have what it takes?
Had a good showing here the last few years. Yeah, he's one of the many 9 guys that you're going to see on your broadcast, but 10 actually, because Thomas Estac is in the broadcast sitting on the hot seat. Local French riders. This is amazing to see the French riders here on home soil.
Oh, look at that!
And he is up. As we would come to expect, these French riders are fast on home soil. They know this mountain well. Fast and figure it. One of the tallest riders here that you'll see today. He's done a little bit of bike setup. I know he's a rider that needs to raise his bars the steeper the course gets. He's on a big bike. He's coming over first at the IXS Downhill Cup in Villigen. 10th place here last year. So he's no slouch on this track here in Leger.
Now on a track like this,
wow,
Andrew,
he's aggressive.
Do you feel like it's an advantage to be a tall rider on a track like this?
Look, it really, really all depends. We had this short man himself, Troy Brosnan, take the win. It really doesn't always play into your favor, be too tall and lanky. You're going to have more weight to stop on these steep slopes. That can be a tough one to manage. Bike looks like it's working well, though. He's within touch here. Very aggressive. Did he lose some time there, drifting out in that turn, though?
By the looks of things, you're going to have to be on the edge if you're going to knock Thomas Estac out of that hot seat.
You absolutely are. You're going to have to really, really get aggressive down these low slope. This is going to be closer. Force and Figueroa had a good showing here last year, but this is going to be even better, I think, this year.
Oh, it's going to be close, but not enough for Faustin Figueroa. Good enough for 4th place, 2.76 back, as Thomas Estac gets comfortable.
Man, get that guy a beer. This is a fast, fast time.
Well, a rider who's been posting some good results this season so far from Great Britain, Reese Wilson, is out of the start gate.
And you said it, had the ride of his life in Fort William with a 4th place at a World Cup, his first World Cup podium. Going deep there. So you know he's going to be riding high on confidence. We've seen him at the Crankworx events before. Not posted any podiums to date. Can today be the day that he jumps on the podium here in Leger, France, at round 3 of our Crankworx World Tour? What will the split tell him? Ah, he's lost 1.28. He's within touch, though. You can make that up on these bottom slopes, but you've got to be aggressive. You've got to roll the dice. There's a fine line between going fast and losing traction and losing time here. So the mud from years previous has helped bank up some of these turns. It's a very, very fun course to ride. But to race, it's a whole different animal. Very clean through there. That's holding good speed. Now he needs to get back online to set up for this long, drifty left-hander. That was fast. That was fast. Can he pull back any time here, Cam?
Well, he was behind. It's going to take a perfect run here at the middle section of the course if he's going to have what it takes to knock out Thomas Estac, who's just been dodging bullet after bullet, like a country western movie where nobody seems to be able to hit each other with those 6-shooters.
No, not at all. Reese Wilson, teammates with Thomas Estac, so they're on the same bike, same equipment. Pretty level playing field, yeah. Maybe they've been training together. This is fast, but it's not going to be quite enough. Thomas Estac has put a flyer into the field here in Leger, going down earlier than all these men.
Reese Wilson, yet another rider who does not have what it takes to beat that 302.41 from Thomas Estac. A big old smile on his face. We might as well focus our attention back up to the top of the course and let another rider have a shot at Thomas Estac. This is going to be Alexandre Fayot.
Another Frenchman on home soil, Alex Fayot, the young Frenchman that blew onto the scene with a win, the rain-soaked Lords, but let's not take anything away from that ride on that day. He lay it all on the line in the dry. It would have been a podium run without the rain. Great riding technique and style. He really, really drives his heel into the ground, keeps that bike stable. This will be a man to watch in the future if he keeps it together. He's lost a bit of time, but he's exciting to watch. Really smooths out the tracks with the way he hops his bike and moves his bike around. No slouch on a motocross bike. I know he uses that for training.
Oh, that's going to be even more time lost.
What is going on there?
Fayot.
Do we have a problem with the bike? It doesn't look like it. Looks like he's just lost traction going into that turn. Looked like he sat up for a bit. Maybe he's had some mistakes high up on the track. We pick him here on the lower slopes of Leger. the famous downhill that hosted the 2004 World Championships, where none other than Frenchman Fabien Barel would go on to win. Petey, up at the last split, would go down and crash within sight of the finish. Alex Fiolo had a crash here last year in that very turn. He's kept it upright though. He was on a flyer last year, threw it all away. Alex Fiolo has gone back to the coil spring here on that polygon bike. I know he's been riding air shock. He obviously wants a little bit more traction. Coil spring for riders at home will give you a little bit more traction in the consecutive bumps that he's going to hit on this track.
Well, there he is. Thomas is Stack. Now, he did have a 4th place on this course just 2 years ago at Crankworx Leger. Top result, the 16th at Fort William a few years ago in the World Cup Series. But dodging so many bullets, can't say it enough.
And Jack Redding on track here, a man that uses a lot of body English when he rides. You know this man is on a race run when you see him. Competes in a lot of Crankworx events. We see him in Whistler a lot. Coming off 24th last week in Innsbruck. Puts a lot of effort in, builds his own team. What is the split going to tell? He's within touch though, 1.28. Lost a bit of time on the highest slopes. And Cam Thomas's time is going to be tough to beat. I know we've got a lot of heavy hitters to come, but that time is going to be very, very competitive.
Now you'd say Thomas's Stack must have done something special up top, but he must have just had a perfect run top to bottom, because we're not even seeing any of these riders who are close
Jack
up top.
is late there. That is going to cost him a lot of time, going very late out of that left-hander. Yeah, Thomas must have put in an absolute calculated and clean run here.
What we've been seeing so far is riders who are kind of close at the top just keep getting further and further away as they make their way down.
Jack Redding, very late there, losing a little bit more time. Oh, dropping inside into that left-hander, opting to stay out of the bumps. Also a risky strategy, because if you hop in late, sometimes you miss that rut and you'll blow the turn. Sometimes it's better just to stay in the bumps and know that you're going to make the turn.
Well, Jack Redding is going to need a time machine if he's going to knock Thomas's Stack out of the hot seat. Through the finish line with a time of 3:09.29, good enough for 12th place. Well, next racer in the gate out of New Zealand, always entertaining, Ed Masters.
Eddie Masters, your 2017 New Zealand national champion. Eddie Masters has opted back to the 27.5 carbon machine that Pivot has. He found that his 29-inch prototype was maybe a little bit short on the reach for him for a track like this. This track is fast. You want to have as much reach as you can and have stability at high speeds if you're hitting like 80 k's an hour, Cam.
Oh, he's close.
And it seemed to paying off. He's clearly more comfortable on that bike. So much is on your feel on a bike. If you can get that touch and the feel, then it relates to fast times on the track. He's within touch. What is the next? We haven't got the next split, but I would safe to say he's within touch. Can he keep it together on the lower slopes here? Estek, Teron, Kerr, Figueroa, Ruffin. Where will Eddie put himself on this current leaderboard?
Whoa, committed.
Dropping a fit, but very committed. You're right, Cam. He did not lose any speed there. Also dropping a foot, but you know he won't be on the brakes. Wow, as you can see, losing traction there. This is fast. Sports fans, Eddie Masters, one of the funnest guys you'll ever meet, on and off the bike. Clearly been staying off the golf course this week and focusing on his riding. Eddie Masters back on the 27.5 bike. He looks fast, folks. Will the time hold up though? He was in touch at the first split. Eddie Masters through Petey's turn. It's going to be a 3:02.41. This is so close. Oh, he's dropped a little bit of a pedal there. Is it going to cost him? Oh, no, Eddie. 1.27 back. Eddie Masters with a flying run there. Drops himself into second by Thomas Eskirk. 3:02.41.
Well, next in the gate, a kid who knows how to lay it all on the line. Has been laying it a little bit too hard so far this season. Out of Canada, Finn Isles.
Yeah, decorated junior career, Finn Isles, a former junior world champion, and he is fast, but he has not had the season he wanted this year, Cam. Came into the first year elite with a lot of hype, a lot of potential. Let's not take anything away from him. It's really, the pressure's been on and he hasn't had the results he wants. Finn Isles, racing for Specialized, 2.51 back. They are on a new prototype 29er bike. Done some testing this week and felt like putting it under some race conditions. From Canada, Finn Isles took a third in Rotorua at the rain-soaked round 1. And contrasting conditions here in Leger.
Finn Isles, of course, known for his success in the junior category, smashing the competition the last few seasons. But don't forget, when he was a little kid, he won the whip-off in Whistler.
Yeah, they gave him a special entry there. He wasn't even old enough. But when everyone saw what he could do, they gave him an entry to the whip-off. So he burst onto the scene in Whistler, a resident of Whistler. Formerly a top-fledged skiing racer. And apparently he came to his parents and eventually said, you know what? I'm mountain biking. I'm done with skiing, having more fun on my bike, and wow, did it pay off for him and the family. The youngster Finn Isles stepping up into the elite category, riding alongside Loic Bruni, who we will see later on that new prototype 29-inch wheel Specialized.
Well, Finn Isles entering the final section of the course. It's not going to be enough to take the lead out from under Thomas's stack, but will it be enough for a podium?
He's drifting back. The time is ticking on. Not the finish he would have wanted.
Finn Isles through the finish line. He must have had some problems up there in the top, into 25th place. But let's get excited. A rider who's had 2 world championships under his belt in the past, Great Britain's G. Atherton.
This man needs no introduction. As you said, 2-time world champion. G. Atherton, big injury last year, and he's struggling to find the form that we all know he's capable of. G. Atherton has also been testing 29-inch wheels, and he has opted to race them here today. This can play into his favor, offering him maybe a little bit more traction on those fast slopes. Where there'll be a bit of a drawback is here in the tighter sections of Leger. We're not picking up a split just yet. G. Atherton, if a man can bounce back from injury, it is this man. We've seen some big crashes from him. And back he comes. Oh, a little bit late on the turn, and that is a mistake. That is a bad mistake. He's lost huge time there. Is there a problem with the tire or the bike? No, he just pushes too hard. Very late on the braking into the left-hander. And that's the problem you'll have. Get too aggressive in these lower slopes and you're going to mess up 3 or 4 turns after that. G. Atherton from Great Britain. His sister took the win in the female category earlier today. G. Atherton desperate to get back to that winning form that we all know he's capable of. Can't be easy coming back from injury and not placing where you want to place and where you know you can be. One of the hardest working men on the circuit. And he is back. This is not going to be what he wanted today. A little bit back on the time of Thomas. And what a run by Thomas in the hot seat. G. Atherton.
Well, great to see G. Atherton back on the racetrack, but unfortunately not back on the hot seat. Good enough for 10th place. But we need to learn some more about this man right here, Thomas's stack. And for that, we'll send it down to Cunny.
Hey, I'm just here down at the finish line with Thomas's stack. That's been an incredible run you've had there. You're holding off a lot of stiff competition.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I don't think I will make it. I did a good run. I take my good line. I don't make some mistake, and I'm happy with that. Very happy. The track is like so rough, and yeah, I'm very happy to do that in France, in Leger. Yeah, it's a good place for this.
Well done, and we hope you hold on to this hot seat a little bit longer. Cheers.
Well, thank you, Cunny. Who can knock the candy out of this pinata full of candy? Thomas's stack right now taking so many blows from the baseball bat. Rupert Chapman from New Zealand, does he have what it takes to make it rain candy?
Well, he's over a second back at the first split. Rupert Chapman didn't feel great last week in Innsbruck, had a big crash in practice, chose to take it easy in the race. This looks more like the Chapman we know. Former 2016 New Zealand national champ. This is really the man that we like to see on track. We like to see Rupert aggressive. Man that spends a lot of time in Queenstown the off-season, as does Eddie Masters, getting a lot of bike time. He's stayed on the 29er pivot bike. And it's not a negative to say a guy's gone from a 29 to 27 or vice versa. What you're seeing is our guys are really trying to establish what is better for their riding style, their size, and their technique. So Rupert Chapman. Whoa, going very deep there. That road gap is a little bit shorter than what the riders would like, Cam. Going through Petey's corner here. Just got to navigate the last road gap, and then you're basically into the finish area. Very respectable time.
Rupert Chapman, not going to be enough for him either. He's outside the top time. 5.83 back, good enough for 12th position. But when it comes to going absolutely Mach 20, Mick Hanna is usually up for the task. Can the Australian knock out Thomas's stack?
Also known as Michael. So no introduction needed. He'll enjoy that one if he listens back, he'll know where it comes from. But jokes aside, this is a guy that has had 3 Crankworx podiums in 2018 already. He had a famous, or to him infamous, 2nd place at the World Championship in his hometown of Cairns.
Now, would you say this track is right up Mick Hanna's alley? Oh, 1.44 back already at the split. This is just becoming like Groundhog's Day every time we get the split times.
It really is. You know what? If Michael is feeling confident and in a good place, any track suits Mike. That's the thing with Mick Hanna. So Mick Hanna a little bit back at the first split. Come on, Michael, we want to see more out of you on that prototype Polygon bike. This is a man that often doesn't look like he's going fast. Calm riding style. It's almost like he's hunting over the front of the bars. His head really leads where he wants to go. But don't let that fool you. This man is built for speed. A man that took a year off from racing, retired from the sport, took a whole year off and came out swinging at the first round of the World Cup Series after a year off, and would go on to win that race, or get second. I apologize, my facts are not on top of it today. So Mick Hanna coming back to form after last season, taking 2nd of the World Champs. A veteran of the sport chair. He was back here in 2004. He was back here in 2002, still racing. Mick Hanna into the finish.
Mick Hanna already outside the time, yet again. A 14th place so far for him, 6.23 back. We got a French rider on the top. Is it gonna take fire to beat fire? Another French rider out of the gate right now, Bernhard Kerr.
Coming off a 2nd at the European Champs in here in 2018. We haven't seen him at many Crankworx events before, so he's new to us, but not new to the downhill circuit. The quiet Frenchman. The same bike as Thomas, on a Commensal 29er. See with the first split, and he is down 1.75 back. As we've seen, Cam, deja vu. This is going to be so difficult. Guys, let's not forget, there are still podium positions, a full leaderboard that we need to fill here today. Still got a lot of riders to go. Thomas has put in the blinder. Let's not discount the people still to come. Very different riding style to some of the guys we'll see. Quite low, hunched over the bike. Making his way down these amazing fast ski slopes here in the summer of Leger in the Port du Soleil area. Wow, opting for that outside bumpy line, but holding very good speed through there. Over the road gap. Thomas Esther, 3:02.41.
So far, Ed Masters, the closest to Thomas's stack so far. Bernhard Kerr not going to have what it takes also. Will it be enough for a podium position? No, he's down into 15th place. Now, Andrew, do you think anything's changing with the track? I mean, the weather's been consistent all day, or was Thomas's stack just that fast?
I really think let's give him some credit. He really did go down earlier than other guys, but this course is getting a little bit dry and a little bit more blown out. But all the stuff in the woods is going to be very similar. All the stuff up here has been dry all week. It's not changing that much. He's put in an absolute blinder. Florent Payet from France, another Frenchman. He's your 2017 European champion. An amazing breakout result. 3rd place in the World Champs in 2016.
Another red.
A likable, tall Frenchman of Florent Payet. Equipped on that Mondraker bike. He's red as well. It's deja vu. Thomas has put in a blinder, as we said. Florent Payet resides in Reunion Island.
Oh, a little mistake there for Florent Payet. Thomas the Stack basically making it so none of these riders have any room for error. You see he was back by 1.21 at the first split. A visible mistake. Gonna have a lot of ground to make up if he's gonna even want to get into one of those top 3 spots.
And he is coming for 7th place here in 2016. So he knows these slopes well. He's ridden well here in the past. But Thomas has really just unexpectedly just put in an absolute blinder. Taking down big name after big name. Is that time going to hold up? Can he take home a medal, or one better, even take home the gold medal? Florent Payet. What will the time tell us when he comes into the finish? He is down on Thomas Estach. 3:02 that he needs to beat.
Another rider across the finish line, this time Florent Payet. Not enough, good enough for 7th place, back by 4.3. Well, of course, we said the name Thomas the Stack more times than we ever thought possible right now. He's looking unbeatable. Ed Masters, the closest to a stack right now. Remy Thierrand holding on to that 3rd place. Bernhard Kerr just off of the podium. Will anybody have what it takes to smash the time from Thomas Estach? We're going to find out soon. This is the Crankworx Leger Downhill. Final riders coming up after the break.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Leger Bike Park, the best bike park in Europe. Now, if you're curious what this bike park is all about, maybe why you should come visit, Take a look. We're going to take you from a satellite view, zoom all the way down into this nice European village, a spot that is very important these days for recreational mountain biking, but a spot that's also very important in the world of competitive downhill racing, Andrew.
That it is. This plays host to many a World Cup racer, Crankworx racer. In between races, they come here, it's their playground, but it can be anyone's playground. I mean, it's just so world famous for so many reasons.
Well, it's a playground right now for one Thomas Stack, who's been untouchable so far in the Crankworx Les Gets Downhill 2018. Take a look, he's fending off his competitors. Ed Masters got the closest by 1.27, but 1.27 too far. Remy Thirion holding on to that bronze medal position so far, but 10 riders left to go. And
a great ride by Eddie Masters, Remy Thirion as well. But our leader is just so tough to beat at the moment.
Well, we got a whole lot more fast racers to come, 10 to be specific. For more on that, let's hear from Cunny.
I'm down here at the finish line, and we have seen Thomas Stack holding tight onto that hot seat. What an incredible run from him. But we have plenty more fast riders coming up. Two that I think are keen to look out for would be Lucas Shaw, the young rider. He's qualified fastest at the last two World Cups, but punctures and mechanicals and crashes have held him out of that winning contention. So we are expecting big things from him soon. Maybe today is going to be his day. Another rider is Amaury Perriand. He has won the last two World Cups, and he is in the form of his life. He's only 22 years old, and he is slaying some of the masters of the sport. Can he slay his compatriot Thomas Stack today? He lives only 4 hours from this location, but as this track is normally closed off, he's only ridden it one time, and that was last year at Crankworx, where he got 9th. I'm going to put a bit of money on him doing better than that this year. Back to you guys up there in the box.
Thanks, Cunny. Definitely some fast racers yet to come, and we're about to find out if Thomas Stack is in fact unbeatable, or if riders like Lucas Shaw and Amaury Perriand, riders who have been so quick so far this season, have what it takes. Funny little problems for Lucas Shaw in the last few World Cups. So will this finally be the race where he puts it together top to bottom in the finals? He's been qualifying so well. Now the fans out here definitely enjoying the show. I hope you're enjoying it from home, from the comfort of your couch. But if you ever want to show up in person to a Crankworx festival, these are some of the guidelines you're going to have to follow. After 15 years of extensive worldwide testing, the following are scientifically recognized methods of showing support for your favorite rider. Air horn, vuvuzela, novelty homemade signage, Instagram hashtag, cowbell, thunder stick, screaming. However, studies have shown that fan nakedness has a detrimental effect on athlete performance. And that's why you need this. But you can't get it here. It's only available on site at the best mountain bike destinations on planet Earth. There you have it. Go get your Crankworx merchandise provided by Fox. Don't be naked. Nobody naked out here today, so you shouldn't be either. Go get some clothes. Well, 10 riders left to go here at the Crankworx Les Gets Downhill. A star-studded cast, to say the least.
And if this course is, sorry Cam, if this course is going to give you arm pump, what about Thomas Esk hanging onto that hot seat for so long? He must have arm pump just sitting at the bottom, hanging tight, because he's got 10 more riders to dodge, and he could have a gold medal here today.
Can somebody bring him a pillow, a thermarest, something? His rear end's got to be getting sore sitting on that hardwood hot seat. We got to get somebody fanning him, feeding him grapes. He's earned that position on the hot seat. But if he wants to keep it, it's not going to be easy. Take a look at who we have still to come down the hill.
Yeah, we still have Rafael Gutierrez, Baptiste Perron, Mark Wallace, Lucas Shaw, Loris Vergier, Amaury Perriand, and let's not forget our defending champion, Troy Brosnan from Australia.
Now, Andrew, this was the track you raced for your first ever World Cup, so you know exactly the ins and outs of this track. How about you take us to school?
I'd like to do just that, Cam. The great thing about this track, it's a mix of different terrain. You start at the fast slopes at the top. The key to this race, though, is carrying speed through these fast grass slopes. So here we see Rachel Atherton. She's very cool and calm.
Get that rear shock.
So she's opting to go as wide as she can, but she has to ride through all those bumps. But what that does is she is almost guaranteed to stay in that rut, and she comes out very consistent.
So that's what it looks like when you're smooth. Take a look at when you're living life on the edge.
So here we take a look at Eddie Masters. He's a little bit more aggressive. He's opting to come out and attack. I do like this tactic because you're obviously going to come in as hard as you can. You're going to drop the foot. You can brake less. However, when the back wheel breaks out like that, you start losing speed. So there's two different techniques.
Not necessarily efficient,
You've got the efficient, conservative Rachel Atherton technique, or you hang it out all on the line and hope that you don't lose too much traction and too much time the way Eddie Masters did it.
Well, it definitely paid off for Ed Masters, hanging it all out there. He was only 1.27 behind Thomas's stack. But right now, the last 10 riders is a stacked field. He's not looking nervous. He's feeling confident with that time right now. 3:02, the same time we saw win here last year. The man who took that gold medal was Troy Brosnan. He'll be dropping last today in honor of his win last year. That was a great update from Cunny down there talking about Lucas Shaw. He's been qualifying first at the last couple World Cups, but funny things happen, flat tires, little crashes. It'll be exciting to see if he can get a perfect run, and if it'll be enough. Of course, Sam Blankensop, who's leading the overall standings on the Crankworx World Tour. But right now, the first rider will drop. Now that we've broken into our final 10 competitors, it's going to be none other than the English rider, Greg Williamson, and there he is.
Yeah, Greg Williamson's got a 10th here back in 2006 in Leger. What's interesting is he's on a new team and all new bike that's burst onto the scene. The Uno Factory Racing. This is a bike developed by none other than Cesar Reuter. He's a famous World Cup racer back in the early 2000s. This is a state-of-the-art bike. It really looks like an F1 machine. 2 times top 20 results this year in the World Cup Series. 2017 UK National Champion, Greg Williamson. What can he do, and what will we see on the time here?
Well, take a look at this, Andrew. We're expecting to see him on camera right now, and we're expecting to see his split, but no sign of Greg Williamson.
So we hope all is okay for Greg Williamson, but we haven't seen him go through the split. That means he is obviously down on Thomas. So Thomas is guaranteed a top 10 result. But I have a funny feeling he's going to go way deeper than a top 10. I'm picturing a top 3 result here today. I'm going to go out on a limb. We've still got the likes of Loic Bruni, your current world champion, your current World Cup leader, Amaury Perron, your defending champ, Troy Brosnan. Wait, I can go on. Sam Blankensop, the man who's leading the Crankworx World Tour. That's just 4 names. And obviously, Lucas Shaw.
So basically what that means is it's not going to be easy for Thomas to stack, but judging by what we've seen so far, he did something special out there on that Leger downhill course. On a beautiful day, take a look, 17 degrees Celsius. For those of you hanging out back in North America, that's a comfortable 63 degrees. All sunny blue skies for Thomas to stack to enjoy hanging out in that hot seat. We're going to have to start bringing him room service.
Yeah, we are. Thomas Estek with a flyer of a time is 3:02.41. Eddie Masters swapping back to his 27.5. He's in 2nd position.
Well, let's see if our next rider has what it takes. Out of Spain, Rafael Gutierrez.
Not to be mistaken by that graphic store, which was Rafael Gutierrez of Colombia was in the graphic, but this is Rafael Gutierrez of Spain. Coming off a 25th in Leogang. We have not seen him at many of the Crankworx events, so he's new to us. Popping his name in the hat here. Crankworx World Tour in Leger.
Looking forward to the
first
split time.
tell us. Rafael Gutierrez on the main stage here of Crankworx World Tour. Round 3 here in Leger. We have a blistering time in the hot seat that was set early in the day before our broadcast. Rafael, we haven't caught a split yet, looking clean. Looks like he took a top 20, also in the ADH in Leger prior to this.
Serving a little energy there into that right-hander.
Looking good. Great technique on the bike here. Aggressive, dropping a foot there in those open slopes of Leger. Hopping back to get nice and early. He is early, holding good speed here. Lower slopes. This is where people have had problems before. It is bumpy out here. You got to get your braking done early and try brake before those braking bumps. Otherwise, it unsettles the bike and you might get bumped offline. 2:49 and counting.
Oh, he's looking good. He's entering the final section right now with a little under 10 seconds to go if he's going to unseat Thomas's stack.
This is a great time. Rafael coming into the finish.
Gutierrez through the finish line just behind the top time. Good enough for a third place overall at the given moment, but Thomas's stack dodges another one, giving a thumbs up to a near miss.
Well, Rafael coming off a good run there. We might see more of him at other races.
Here we go, out of France, it's Baptiste Pierron.
Brother to Amaury, who we will see later. Riding for Pov View Racing. Out of France, another Frenchman on home soil. They know these tracks so well. These fast slopes of Leger. Baptiste Pierron has had a 7th at Mount Saint World Cup in 2017. So we know when he's on form. And he is up, as we said. These Frenchmen are so fast on the slopes here. This is great. We haven't seen anyone in touch with that first split for a while. Baptiste Pierron.
But barely ahead right now, only 0.05 of a second in front of Thomas's stack. He's gonna need to be flawless though to not fall back.
Yeah, we saw Thomas had such a flyer down the bottom slopes here. But Baptiste, he's on a flyer here, speaking of flyers. Opting for the inside line there, keeping feet up. Pedal stroke, he is holding great pace here. Again, I call it the conservative approach, but he gets to weight the outside tire and he just maintains traction. Bit late there, has to get on the pedals to gain momentum to the next section. Has he lost time there?
Well, it looks like Thomas's stack is excited to have a little bit of competition here. The closest we've seen in a while. Baptiste Pierron.
Clean, just a road gap. Then he's got to get through Petey's corner. I'm not going to try jinx this man, but this is the famous turn. He's through there. He's got to push hard to the finish. He's lost a little bit of time, it seems like it, Cam. He was great at the first split. It's so close, but he's lost time on the lower slope.
Yet again, not enough for another rider. Baptiste Pierron goes into 3rd place.
Well, he was within touch at the first split, but Thomas has put a flyer down on the lower half of this track.
Next up in the start gate, dropping in right now, Canada's Mark Wallace.
Mark Wallace, and we always like to pay tribute to the late Stevie Smith. Mark Wallace on the Canyon Factory Racing out of Canada. As we said, teammate to the late Stevie Smith, who we tragically lost a couple years back. But Mark Wallace has started growing into his own skin here.
Well, this is where we're going to see the first
Coming
split
off
here.
The he's down 1.46. The French are just so fast on home soil here. They're almost unstoppable. Who can take them down here today? Mark Wallace lost 1.5 at the first split. And he'll still be a little bit back there. On my calculation, he's still over a second back to our man in the hot seat. Coming off a 10th in Leogang, 6th in Leger in 2017. Nice and committed to that turn. Teammate Troy Brosnan, we will see him later, our defending champ. 9th in Rotorua, also back in 2017. So man comes out, races very well at these Crankworx events. Nice and tight there on that right-hander. That's the racing line you want to be on.
Right now he's going to have to beat a 3.03 if he wants to get into podium position, currently held by Baptiste Pierron.
Mark Wallace, an efficient, quiet rider on the bike. Scrubbing down there, but he lets the bike do the movement under him. Keeps nice and still, efficient riding style from Mark Wallace. Has he drawn any time back? He was a 1.5 back. What is the time going to tell us? No, he's lost further time. 2.24 back in 6th position. Times are so close here, Cam.
Well, take a look at that man right there. He did some magic out there on this Leger legendary downhill track right now. Now it's going to be out of the USA, Lucas Shaw. Can he hold it together?
The much anticipated run of Lucas Shaw, qualifying fastest, and he is flying already. And if you see Luca going, if he looks fast, man, he's going so fast, because he is a man that is so efficient and calm and calculated on the bike. So if it looks like he's going fast, man, you know he's trying and he's carrying huge speed.
I feel like
to
this could be
qualify
something
fastest
special,
at a
Andrew.
World Cup is no mean feat, and to do it twice in a row, he's in touch, 0.56. And what I like about this kid, he's not scared to put himself in pressure situations and try go for that win. He did it in Leogang. He went down fighting for the win. That is a fast and smart line there by Luca, choosing to hold inside there. Not wasting time with any pedal strokes here. He's opting to pump the bike. Lucas Shaw told me they've popped a new linkage in that bike. It's able to raise the bottom bracket a little bit and get the geometry that they've been wanting all season. This is an all-new 29er Santa Cruz from the ground up.
Well, Stack not looking as comfortable. Okay, never mind, he's dancing still.
So Lucas Shaw, what is the time going to tell us? He's aggressive. Oh, holding very good speed here. Lucas Shaw, the man on fire, the man of the moment. When is he going to have that breakout result? We know he's capable, and he showed the speed all year. Is it going to be here at Crankworx, round 3 in Leger? He's had PD as a mentor this week, and he's made it through PD's corner. He's in touch, folks. Bring him home here into the finish. It's not going to be enough, though. This is such a fast time. He's lost some time on the lowest slopes of this mountain. What did Thomas do on the lowest slopes of the Leger mountain here, this world-famous downhill track?
Thomas had some magic for sure, but this man, Loris Vergier, had a second place here last year. Can he knock out Thomas's Stack?
Loris Vergier, currently 4th in the World Cup rankings, having a great season. Also on that 29er Santa Cruz bicycle, the young, small Frenchman. Chatted to his mechanic this week. I asked him, what did you guys change on the bike? He said, what did we not change? It sounds like Loris has been a bit of a head game this week, just trying to find different setups to get comfortable on this track. And it's working, clearly. A man that likes to tinker, 0.75 ahead. But Thomas S. Tuck has had such a great lower half. This is fast. This is very fast. This is on par through the second split here for Loris Vergier. Getting some pedal strokes in where Luca opted to pump. Staying low there. Loris Vergier, 2nd here last year. Can he mimic that, or can he go one better and take the win here? The young Frenchman flying down the Leger slopes here in France. Has all those changes in setup and on his bike. Are they going to pay off today? They certainly were on the top half of this track. Oh, he looks clean and consistent. Cam, what is the time going to tell us? Is Loris Vergier going to be able to get ahead of Thomas Estak, who's had the most flyer run? This looks good.
Oh, Loris Vergier.
He's in touch. It looks like he's put some time down here on the bottom. He's going to do it, Cam!
Loris Vergier into the hot seat by 1.22. And the crowd goes absolutely wild for this young rider. Well, if the Frenchman's going to get knocked out by anybody, this crowd prefers that it's another Frenchman. Loris Vergier into the hot seat, but right now it's all about the man, Sam Blanketop, currently leading the Crankworx World Tour when it comes to downhill.
And also currently leading the king of Crankworx, so he has got some great points. Sam Blanketop, who we will switch to soon. So the two French riders, as you see on our screen, congratulating each other. That's a French 1-2 at the moment. Loris Vergier.
We'll take a look back at some of the replays. This is Loris Vergier just knocking Thomas Estak out of the hot seat.
Loris Vergier, the cool, calm, and collected Frenchman. He looked very calculated. We got a great slow-mo of the bike here. A little bit late into that turn. Oh, the track is getting so rough. Loris Vergier So he's our man to beat at the moment. None other than Sam Blenkinsop, a first in Rotorua Redwoods downhill, a first in Redwoods downhill. Sorry, I apologize. He took 2 wins at the Crankworx in Rotorua. It was the Redwoods downhill and the normal Rotorua downhill.
He took a 2nd place just a week ago in Innsbruck. He's leading the overall in 2 separate categories here on this Crankworx World Tour. Oh, look at this. He's up by a 5/100th of a second.
That is fast and within touch. So Sam Blenkinsop, after doing so well at the first few rounds, his team decided early on the season they weren't going to make it to the Crankworx events. But Sam Blenkinsop, so he's lost some more time. No, he's lost 0.8 of a second to Loris Vergier. Can he pick it up down the bottom? So what's more impressive is this man is wrenching on his own bike this season, taking it back to the privateer days. I think that's great that he's supporting the Crankworx World Tour, and as he should, leading the series.
Now, you haven't seen a lot of pedaling so far in today's race coverage because this track is so steep. But this guy, known for squeezing in the pedals every opportunity, whether he's on the ground or off of the ground. So if he can make up that 0.7 that he was back at the 2nd split, we're going to have a race on our hands here.
Yeah, this track is so fast. You drop a lot of elevation. There's not a lot of pedaling you can do on this track. It's all about being late and consistent on the brakes. So can he pull back some time? He's 0.7 back, Sam Blenkinsop. Loris Vergier in the hot seat at a 301.19. It's not going to be enough, Cam. Will he slot into 3rd place, 1.83 back. So he's lost further time. Loris Vergier has torn the lower slopes of Leger apart here today.
Well, Sam Blenkinsop sitting in good position if he wants to get some points for the World Tour overall and the King of Crankworx tally. We have 3 more riders left to go, but we got to talk to our current leader, Cunny.
Loris, we got 3 more riders down, but that's an incredible run from you. How are conditions up on the track?
It's a bit slipperier than this morning, and I guess like all the riders destroyed a bit the track, so you have to be careful and just stay on the bike. That's the main thing. But then it comes to an end and just you have to push, so it's good to be up there. I'm stoked.
And in front of a French crowd, feeling good in front of these guys?
Yeah, they're just like the best. Frenchies! Allez, on fait du bruit! Yeah.
We'll let you sit down again and watch the final 3 riders. Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Johnny, Loris Vergier getting the crowd going out here for good reason. They love this kid. 2nd place last year. Currently sitting in the hot seat with 3 riders left to go. 2 of them also being French competitors.
Well, he not only stayed on his bike, but he did it at blistering pace. There are 2 secrets, and he didn't let out to that. How he's found so much speed out there on the track.
Well, there he is right now, the reigning world champion from France, Loic Bruni.
Dressed in all white and that famous World Championship striped jersey. Loic Bruni, already a 2-time world champion at such a young age. Loic Bruni, done a lot of testing this week. They were back-to-backing their 27.5 current downhill bike to this new prototype 29-inch. He has opted for the 29-inch wheel. What will the Frenchman do on home soil? Can he upset his good friend, Loris Vergier? Oh, he is down. That is not the top sector he needed to be in touch with Loris Vergier. He's 2.09 down already. Loris Vergier and Thomas Essard have had great top splits. Injured at Croatia at the first round of the World Cup Series. Bounced back with a podium at Fort William.
Losing a bit more there at split number 2.
So testing bikes can take away a bit of your focus. Loris Vergier, all he had to do was get to know the track and see how fast he could go. So these men opted to oh, he's late there. This is not the Loic we know. Making mistakes. Loic, normally efficient, calm, calculated, and so smooth. So Loris Vergier having a little bit of a teasing his friend and countryman Loic Bruni. Loic Bruni, not a man that said he would go to a 29er. But hey, in this game of downhill, it's all about split seconds. And if you feel you can go faster, doesn't matter what wheel size, doesn't matter what color the bike is, if you can go faster, you're going to use it. So Loic Bruni, can he gain some time back on the lower slopes here? Will it be enough? But Loris Vergier has put in a stormer at a 301.
Well, can Loic Bruni move into a podium position? He does not. All the way back in 18th place, 6.27 back for the reigning world champion Loic Bruni. But right now, in the start gate, another French rider, the last French rider we're going to see, and the rider who's won the last 2 World Cups. So we're looking forward to that, but we got to take a look back at the replay from Loic Bruni's run, see if we can figure out what went wrong to put him into 18th place.
So the damage was done before we even pick him up. 2.4 back. The lower half.
We talked about him being a bit late in one of these corners here. Needles, explain to our viewers what you mean by that.
So when I say late, you want to set up early, and early means that you can come into a corner very wide. So if you're doing a right-hander and going into left, you want to see how close you can get to the right side of the track before you drop into the left. So when he's late, he's just having to brake extra hard to get into the next turn.
It's all about setup here at the Crankworx Ligier downhill. And what we have set up for us right now is the potential for a really great climax to this downhill race. 2 riders left, one of them being this man, Aymeric Pierron, the man who's won the last 2 World Cup races out of France.
And if you didn't know this man's name last year, you sure as hell know it now. This is Aymeric Pierron, coming off 2 World Cups wins. I mean, what an amazing season from the youngster. He's only 22 years old, equipped on that Commencal 29 bike. Thomas Esk, sitting in 2nd place, is on this very same bike. There's a man on a mission, a man on fire. It's this man. What will the split tell us?
Whoa!
Oh, and he's up! This is no surprise, folks. 1.23 up. This is what confidence can do to a guy. He's come off 2 wins in a row on the World Cup Series. He's looking like no reason to start, and he's
Even
put more
more
time, Cam. 1.78.
Oh.
This is just so good to watch. Watching a man on absolute top form here, folks. Oh, this is nice to watch. He showed signs of this last year, but man, did he come out firing this year. Aymeric Pierron, at only 22 years of old, leading the World Cup Series. Dropping a foot there, but not losing any time. As you see, he didn't lose any traction there, Cam. The back wheel stayed in line with the front wheel. Clearly equipped with fitness as well. He's not looking fatigued here. If anything, he's getting faster and faster as he goes down the track. Something a man like Aaron Gwynn seems to do on a regular basis. What will the time be? Aymeric Pierron on the form of his life. Here in front of home crowd in France. Navigating the last step down. The crowd is roaring. He is going to do it. He's going to smash the time of Lawrence Verger. Aymeric Pierron into the hot seat.
Aymeric Pierron by 1.07 seconds as the French crowd here in Ligier welcomes him into the finish line corral. Wow, impressive ride for Aymeric Pierron. Well, this season we're getting accustomed to seeing the #1 next to this guy's name, Aymeric Pierron. Now we got to get a word from this young rider. Connie, let's hear it.
Hi, that was an incredible run you've just put in. How are you feeling up there on the track?
Not really good. I did some mistake, lose a bit my line, but I stay focused all along the track, so I'm happy to take the first place. I'm waiting for Troy.
Well, we've got one more rider, so we'll wait tentatively, hey?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for that, Connie. Now you hear that, despite making what he classified as a mistake in his run, he still shot into that hot seat by more than a second. Just shows the pace this guy is on in this 2018 season.
Incredible pace here as we look back. That bike is clearly working flawlessly. It's great to see everything ticking for this man, but often a mistake near the top of a track can get you just re-energized, refocused, and you start being more aggressive.
Well, that leaves one rider to go here in our 2018 Crankworx Ligier downhill, the guy who won it a year ago, the 2017 champion out of Australia, Troy Brosnan.
The boy wonder from down under, but no boy he is anymore. This man has stepped up into the elite category with fire in his belly. Our defending champion from last year, Troy Brosnan. Small in stature, but don't let that fool you. This man is aggressive on a bike. Oh, he's within touch, though. He is down, though, by 0.7, and Aymeric put some serious time into the folks at the bottom sector. Troy needs to get going here. Aggressive there. What will the second split tell us? Oh, and he's made huge time. I remember from last year, he did unthinkable things in that middle section of the course, and he's done that again. He's made up well over a second there.
Troy Brosnan with some secrets in the woods up at split #2.
That'll play into the favor of that 27.5 bike in the woods. Amri Perron making good pace on the fast slopes of Les Gets, but when it gets into the woods, it gets a little bit tighter. Troy Brosnan on an absolute fire here. Can he defend? Can he upset? A home win for the French here. The French are sitting pretty in 1 and 2, but the Australian opting for a new line. That was fast and that was smooth.
Is that a secret from last year?
Oh, he is aggressive, going very deep there. I don't think he's lost too much time though. It's not going to affect him. What can Troy do? He needs to keep it on 2 wheels here. He's into the last slopes here. This is so fast.
Fire! Can he cross the finish line ahead?
He's going to smash the time.
Does by 0.97 of a second. Troy Brosnan wins back-to-back here in Les Gets.
Wow, Cam, what a run by Troy Brosnan, almost throwing it away within sight to the finish line.
Oh, he has some secrets up there on that grass.
He did some unthinkable stuff in the wooded section of this course between Sector 1 and Sector 2. Amri Perron was in a league of his own at the top, but Troy Brosnan, the man from down under, repeats his win from last year.
Well, Troy Brosnan had to sit up at the top of that course all day watching the French dominate that hot seat. Let's listen in. Well, Troy Brosnan doing it back-to-back. Cunny, let's hear him.
Troy, what an incredible run there. It looked like it was getting a bit wild towards the bottom. What were your thoughts in those moments?
I was trying to push so hard, and just right before that last road gap, I actually slipped my hand off the bar. My seat's all crooked. I just saved it in the air. I was tucked up so hard, but everything else was sick. I went smooth up top, and then through those woods I can really rip on a tiny bike and a tiny me, so it was good. I'm stoked.
Yeah, man, I can see that seat. That looks like it was a wild ride there you've got going on. It must feel amazing, though, to repeat the win here after last year.
Yeah, for sure. Last year was amazing. The track here is so good. This track is just one of the ones that will always be sweet and go down in history, so to get back-to-back wins, I'm super stoked.
I'm presuming we'll see you again next year to defend this title again?
Oh, definitely. I love this place. It's good. The track's amazing. People are amazing. It's good.
Well, if you put a run like that every time, I want to see it every time, man. Brilliant riding.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cunny. Being aggressive and being agile seem to be the secrets for that man right there, Troy Brosnan. Could you believe when he came out of the woods what the split had to say?
Unbelievable ride. You heard it from him. He feels like he can play to his strengths in the woods. He kept it calm at the top and got very aggressive and attacked in the woods. And he was so aggressive down the bottom, he almost threw it all away near the last road gap. My word, thank you, Troy. That was so exciting.
What a show. Just going to show that big isn't always better. He says the little bike, the little me, he can control that thing like none other, especially on this track. Take a look at the final results here. France holding down the 3rd and 2nd spots, getting a bronze and silver. Loris Vergier in 3rd, Emery Pierron in 2nd, but that man right there making it back-to-back. Troy Brosnan taking home the gold in the Crankworx Les Gets downhill. More to come, don't go away.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
SRAM, the power of bicycles. So this is how it went down here today in Leger. It was the Crankworx Leger downhill, and what a finish to this competition. Take a look at the leaderboard.
Oh, Crankworx downhill world tour. Sam Blenkinsop amassed some more points. We didn't see Danny Hart, but Troy Brosnan jumped into the mix there with 150 points. Mick Hanna missed out on points there. Amri Piron is a man that jumped on our leaderboard. But let's not take away. Sam Blenkinsop got some great points here today and amassed a lot of the first round.
So Sam Blenkinsop still sitting well in the overall standings right there. That's going to help him for King as well. I'm curious to hear what he has to say, Cunny.
We're down here with Sam at the finish line. Sam, there was some tough competition out there today.
Yeah, it's this one's pretty much like a World Cup, so I was stoked to come in 5th. I think that's where I ended up. So yeah, I just made a few mistakes up there. I was kind of pushing a little bit too hard, and the track changed a lot since the last practice run, so I guess you needed to do it, but yeah, I was just trying to be a bit safe. I got World Cups coming up, and yeah, it was good to see everyone pinning it like Troy and Larice, and it's crazy. It's good riding with these guys.
And we see you've been wrenching your own bike this weekend, so more relaxed attitude helping you out at these events?
Yeah, I just my bike was a bit noisy, but other than that, it's not as crisp as it should be. But yeah, I like doing my own thing sometimes, and just me and my girlfriend here at the race, and it's yeah, I'm having fun. It's enjoyable.
And thoughts going forward to the next round in Whistler?
Yeah, just go there and have fun, really. I love the track in Whistler, and I love the whole event, really, because yeah, everything's sick, and it's just like another fun event, and it's just cool. There's so much going on too, like the whip-off and Air DH, and yeah, and Garbanzo. So I'll be doing probably all 4 of those events, and I can't wait for it.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing you there and seeing if you can turn this lead into a title.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
Cheers, man.
Thanks a lot, Cunny. So a 5th place here for Sam Blenkinsop helps him maintain his status in the downhill overall standings, but also the king of Crankworx overall standing, where he still has a commanding lead, sitting there with 640 points ahead of Thomas Lemoyne with 500. Now, all these riders competing in a multitude of different events. Sam Blenkinsop getting the majority of his points from downhill. He got a great result in Enduro out in New Zealand, but it is far from over. That man, Thomas Lemoyne, who's currently sitting in 2nd, has an opportunity to get some more points tomorrow in the slopestyle.
The Crankworx FMBA World Slopestyle Championship is heating up. The 14 best slopestylers in the world are officially in the thick of it, with some wild cards thrown into the mix here in Leger. Round 1 in Rotorua saw Canadian Brett Reeder reign supreme. And then at Crankworx Round 2 in Innsbruck, this went down.
Nikolai Rogatkin!
Here's a juicy little stat for you. No rider has ever locked down the Triple Crown of slopestyle. The Leger slopestyle, live and direct from the mecca of French mountain biking, Crankworx Leger. See all the action on Red Bull TV.
Well, tomorrow's going to be insane, to say the least. If you enjoyed the downhill out here today, make sure you tune in tomorrow for the slopestyle. It's going to be ridiculous. Stop 3 of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championships. But let's talk about what we saw here today, Andrew. Final thoughts on this downhill race.
Well, I expected the French to be fast on home soil, and fast they were. The likes of Amri Perron, Loris Vergier. But Troy Brosnan was a standout ride, being aggressive and committed to take down those big names. And great to see Rachel Atherton back here. Almost unexpected that she would go on to take the win with her current form.
Well, what a great day of racing. Rachel Atherton back on top. Troy Brosnan showing it wasn't a fluke last year, making it back-to-back wins for him here in Leger. What a great day of racing. That was the Crankworx Leger downhill. Join us tomorrow for the slopestyle. Thanks for tuning in, world. We'll see you then.